FFG has listened to our political pressure. Welcome to the podcast where we discuss how to outmaneuver your opponents. I'm Faith, and I'm back this week, joined with his Dudeness and Jrod, who held down the fort last week. We have an update about Planetary Qualifier pricing, more spoilers to talk about, and an interesting update about a new product. However, to start us off, tomorrow, Tuesday, October 8th, my board game about the election of the United States by the people goes live on Kickstarter. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can find the comments in the link below. Jrod, we heard some updates about the Planetary Qualifier pricing. Why don't you let us know what happened?
Good thing I was prepared for this. I know I was reading this off. I had it ready just in case. So they said, first, we want to thank you all for sharing your feedback on PQs. Based on the feedback, we have some updates along with some new information to share. An additional 64 participant cards have already been sent to all PQ stores. This has been fixed for every PQ going forward with 128 participation promos included at each event. I think that's a pretty standard and reasonable fix there.
Yep.
As an extra reward for Season 0, 6 booster displays have been sent to all PQ stores to be used as additional prize support. That's super awesome, so good on them. Also, we heard the message that the cards we are providing are not as iconic as you all hoped they would be. Rest assured, our team is already hard at work evaluating what these cards look like for the future to better meet your expectations. I think it's also reasonable. I think it would have been crazy to expect them to change the cards that they've already chosen for this season of PQs and potentially even next season of PQs. So I think we should expect in 2 seasons from now, set 4 is when I would expect to see the actual changes. But hey, maybe they'll surprise us with that and have it for next set 2. But I'll be happy if it's in for set 4.
Well, I do want to say I would be kind of surprised if we don't have some pretty cool pricing for the next set, only because there's so many like iconic like characters in this next set coming up, and there's so many like fun characters. I think they probably did pretty good on set 3. I agree with you. They probably can't change, but they probably, I think, may have already picked a decent card.
Well, we'll have to wait and find out on that one. And then lastly, as many of you know, winners of PQ will receive a Day 1 buy for Galactic Championship. We're excited to share that because of that, there will be a special event for the PQ winners on the first day with exclusive swag you aren't going to want to miss. Be sure to tune in to our live stream on October 23rd to get the full download on all things related to the Galactic Championship. Thank you all for sharing your feedback with us and helping to improve our programs. First and foremost, that's super cool with that swag. It definitely makes winning the PQ mean a lot more. I'm sure that swag is going to be pretty pricey if I had to guess, if they do a good job with it, which I think that they will after the feedback that they've heard. So I have some high expectations for those rewards, and just good on FFG for being like, oh, we messed up. Let's really dig our heels in it and get this fixed. And, you know, while no fix would have been perfect for this because they couldn't go back in time and fix the issues that they had, I think what they did do is a good and positive step forward into improving what I felt was a big miss on their end. So good job to the team and them. And, you know, it gives me faith that even if things go wrong, that they're quickly and efficiently will work to adjust and fix those issues.
Dudeness, what are your thoughts on this new announcement?
I mean, for sure, making the participation promo an actual participation promo is the absolute bare minimum they could have done. But there is one little nitpick I wanted to say, and that this entire Season 0 will persist until the first Worlds. Like, Season 0 is encompassing these entire first Planetary Qualifiers, and then the Regional Qualifiers, and then the first Worlds. Not just specifically Set 2 or something like that. The entire thing is Season 0. But I mean, Season 0 means it is a test, right? So they did a thing, people didn't like it, now they're trying to fix it, make it better going forward. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this sort of, you know, Season 0, quote-unquote, beta season, as it were, right? To test it all out. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But
I want to say I agree with you, actually, about this Season 0 thing. They mentioned how they didn't want to have any big events with Set 1, with just a Set 1 only meta. Kind of unfortunate, actually, because turns out Set 1 was actually pretty decent on its own. And only, like, I wish that was the Season 0, was that that part maybe had, like, a Worlds in November or something, where you had 3 sets, an early one, and then had a regular routine. So like had like a half season 0 and then like a 3/4 season 1. I don't know. But I agree with you. It kind of seems like a long time to just our first quote unquote like real qualifying where points are going to matter. It's going to be in year 2 of the game, like after the qualifier.
After summer 2025, presumably that's when season 1 proper will start.
Yes, we'll probably have 5 sets out before season 1 starts, where points matter, and then that won't matter until the first Galactic Championship, which will be like set 8. That'll be like the first qualified Galactic.
But it's all a test, right? So
yeah,
we're all on the journey together to see how it shapes up. Hopefully, it shapes up for the better with our feedback as we continue to give it critically. So.
Critically, but also charitably, hopefully. Like we can say that FFG has listened to our feedback clearly. Anyone that thinks that FFG should have printed off new promos, picked a better character, like, you know what? If they would have spent a silly amount of money, they could have got it express shipped, printed something new off, but they wouldn't have had new art. They wouldn't have had to be approved. Like Disney's got to approve these things. So that wouldn't have happened fast enough. If they had art already magically that they didn't use, sure, they might have been able to if they went out of their way and did it ridiculously. So I think this is a very fair thing to expect.
Yeah.
I guess the other thing that people have mentioned a little bit is the fact that, they're giving out 6 boxes. Like, why didn't they sell those? Because it's a short supply. However, there's only 30 events. So 6 boxes at 30 events, you're looking at like 180 boxes, which like sounds like a lot. But in like just America,
more than that for set 3. Come on now.
But just like America, in America alone, at that breaks down to like 3.5 a state in the entire state. So like hard to say that would actually make a difference to the overall, to anyone actually that wants a box.
I agree. Also, it's totally unreasonable to think that they could print new promos in like a few weeks or whatever it was. Like,
not reasonable.
It wasn't even weeks. It was literally like a week or so, a week and a half.
So like people need to just settle down there. But
I mean, I didn't hear anyone actually thinking that. I'm just saying, if you happen to be that person, you should probably like chillax. Like, yeah, they messed up, and guess what? It wasn't going to get fixed, and that's just that.
But the important thing is that this is ultimately a step in the right direction, even if it doesn't mean we get the results we want immediately.
Yes. So we figured out that if we apply some bold resistance and enough political pressure, that we could get some changes happening.
Gross.
Stop. Nice. Love it.
Excuse me.
Well, conveniently, some of those words are the titles of some of the cards that we have spoiled. So, Jrod, why don't you try manufacturing privately some of the spoilers?
Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka.
Okay, go on.
She's a ground unit. She's great. She's a 3 cost. Cunning, heroism. Force Jedi Republic. 3/4. And while you control fewer units than an opponent, including this unit gains ambush. And just to be clear, it's less than, not less than or equal to. So you have to have less.
Yes.
Which actually, my plan to play her on turn 2 to kill your turn 1 play doesn't work because we have equals. So that doesn't work.
Yes.
So that's awkward.
Yes, the card itself is ultimately a little awkward because if your opponent, or if you want to ambush your opponent's unit, they need to have 2 units on board when you play Ahsoka.
Yeah, all right. And let me finish off. She also has an action for 2 that you can return this unit and each upgrade on her to their owner's hands. So there's that. But
so she's a 3/4 with a bunch of relevant traits in Force, Jedi, and Republic. Those are all going to be pretty good. With a very conditional ambush that will work if your opponent is on a token strat. She can come in and kill off a token pretty easily. But just on a regular play, if you play turn 1 and your opponent plays in turn 1, and going into turn 2, she does not have ambush. Unless you trade in your turn 1 into their turn 1 in an unfavorable trade, like a 2/2 into their 3/3, just to give your,
this is not sounding great.
It's not, it seems awkward to use, honestly. Because unless they are on a go wide strat, a token strat or something, you're going to have to really go out of your way to make this ambush trigger, I think.
You know where she's probably real good?
What's that?
Twin Sun.
Twin Suns.
Because it's an opponent. So you can choose any, as long as you're
Any
less
opponent.
than any opponent, you can ambush her in. So she's probably a lot better in Twin Suns.
Sure. She seems...
Hashtag Twin Suns podcast.
Hashtag Twin Suns.
Well, we knew that would be probably J-Rod's favorite card. I am actually super excited for Chancellor Palpatine. It's another legendary card. This one is also in Cunning, but it's double Cunning, costing 4. Chancellor Palpatine is a 2/6 Republic official. Has the effect each token unit you create enters play ready. And it's got on attack, if a unit left play this phase, create a clone trooper token. And I am really excited for this in my mono yellow Fennec Shan deck, because giving Chancellor Palpatine ambush lets you, as long as any unit left play, whether on your side or their side, you'd get that attack trigger, and then that clone token would enter readied. So it could even attack their base. Well, I guess there's nothing else to say. I guess I broke it.
Sorry, I took off my headset for a second. My girlfriend walked by.
No, I'm not sure about this card. Like, each token unit you create enters play ready is certainly a spicy line of text. But 2/6 is not very exciting. So he's like maybe clearing off units that are already weakened. So essentially the clone trooper token that you're creating needs to be doing a lot of the trading for something. Like you attack in the Chancellor, then the token comes and cleans it off or something.
Well, one problem is that, because this is double yellow, a lot of the token, we don't have a lot of cards in yellow that create tokens. We've got the one card that makes 3 tokens, but they enter ready already. So there's the one,
stuff, right?
Yeah. So they don't benefit from him, and then the other one that would benefit from him is the upgrade there that we got last week. That when the unit's defeated, you create a droid token. There's also Rush Clovis. It's not like there's a ton yet that make that in those colors that are going to make tokens.
I think he's good. I mean, we'll have to see, obviously, but he seems powerful. That effect is pretty powerful. It's definitely weird he's in double yellow, which is already a pretty strong color as it is. So I would definitely want to be sliding in some Texan DJ along this guy. Which, conveniently enough, those are all small attack, big butts kind of guys. I don't know if maybe it's a double yellow thing or what, but it seems more like a double blue thing to me. Just pointing that one out. No, weird. But I think he's solid. I think it'd be a good card. All right, Duda, you're up.
I am up, aren't I? And honestly, there's not a whole... There was a few red hero cards that I'll just go over because that's my color, but they don't exactly spark joy. The first one is Anakin's Interceptor. It's a 2-drop space unit, unsurprisingly. It's a 2/3, and while your base has 15 and more damage on it, this unit gets +2 attack. Now, the key thing in that line of sentence is your base. So... This is basically just an Alliance X-Wing with different traits. It just does have the Jedi trait on it, so that could be spicy. The only thing potentially saving this card is the fact that it has the Jedi trait. But it says while your base has 15 and more damage on it. I would like this card a whole lot more if it said any base has 15 and more damage on it, because then you have a clear strategy of putting damage on your opponent's base. As of right now, we have no card that has a clear strategy of trying to put damage on your base. So potentially an Anakin leader might be putting damage on your base, and that's why this card has this on it, right? Because we haven't actually seen the Anakin leader yet. There could be, if he's there could be some potential synergy. They like to do that with the sort of unique units for a leader, like Millennium Falcon from set 1 synergized with Han Solo, Kylo's TIE Silencer from set 2 synergized with Kylo leader, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, or
deploy Anakin, do 15 damage to your base.
Or what?
Or you run it in a villainy deck and you play Galactic Ambition, to have the damage dealt on your base.
I love the jank. Keep it up. But the whole point is that you can't really control how much damage is on your base.
Classic eviction so high.
Wait a minute.
This thing is only triggering incidentally if your opponent happens to be putting 15 damage on your base, which if they're a control deck isn't going to happen until the extreme late game when they start pushing through damage. Or if you're racing another deck and then you're just racing and then maybe the +2 is activated there. But I don't know. A 2-drop Hero Red Space Unit should spark joy. This card didn't spark nearly as much joy as it should have.
So, to be fair, they did say that Red Hero was going to a more controlling style of deck, which is why I believe this has 15 more damage on your base. Now, I'm looking through the tea leaves a little bit here. Hear me out. What if Anakin deploys, and when he deploys, he says, put your base HP to 15?
Well, so let's just think about that, though. That's where bases will matter. Kind of the interesting thing is, because if I have a 30 health base, and I put my life to 15, or whatever, I put damage on my base equal to 15, fine. But if I have a 25 health base, then
I didn't say put damage on your base up to 15. As I said, put your HP to 15, which means that if you're at 29, flip him, you go to 15, or vice versa. So you're not really deploying him until you're like in the 20s or whatever, and then you deploy him, and then you don't go back down to 15. You're basically healing a bunch off your base.
A free heal.
Because they did say
either way, right? Like you either take a bunch of damage or you heal some damage, or obviously it's the same.
Right. So like they did say that there was going to be one red hero leader that's really good for control, and Mace could definitely be that. What they were referring to, like it could be, but like if Anakin comes out and has that ability, I mean, I think that would be nuts for a control deck to be like, oh hey, I'm sitting here at like 28. Oh, I'm gonna just deploy my leader, and now I'm at 15. Go, let's play. That just maybe it's too good, but I mean,
this is a little busted. But we'll see.
It would, but it wouldn't let you deploy him early, though. You know what I mean? Like, it could, let's say he deploys at 5. You're never deploying him then, for the most part.
Well, unless you're playing against Sabine, maybe.
Sure, but like, and then Anakin's Interceptor is actually really good because then it's always turned on with Anakin.
So right? with Anakin's Interceptor, I think this card can see a ton of play in Limited if you get and then there were 2 of them. Because like if you play this turn 1 and then there were 2 of them turn 2 into like a Plo Koon on turn 2, that seems really good.
That's exactly what I was going to get into, was that this does have the Jedi trait, which means that on turn 2 you can play, now there are only 2 of them to get out a 5-cost Jedi. I'm specifically thinking about the Interceptor gets out the boy himself, Anakin, the 5-cost. And now you have a turn 2 6/6.
Not unlimited, but yes.
Not limited. I'm referring more to Premier on this particular instance. Yeah. That is a play that could see, because this is technically a 2-drop Jedi, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is actually the first time we've seen that.
Jedi ship, yes.
No, Jedi period.
Oh, 2. You mean 2-cost Jedi?
Correct. A 2-drop, yeah.
Yeah. Because Grogu is Force and Force of Will is Force, but neither of them are Jedi.
None of them are Jedi. So this guy does, with now there are 2 of them, allow turn 2 5-drop Jedi, which is spicy. That might be, like I said, the traits will have to do the heavy lifting. That might be where I think this card sees play, is because it's just a 2-drop Jedi, full stop. You know,
and to be fair, some decks did just play Alliance X-Wing, so like.
Oh yeah, it's Alliance X-Wing with upside, but Alliance X-Wing has a very relevant trait in a Rebel that helps enable aggro strat, because you have both on curve fleet lieutenants or wing leaders to buff the boy as you just played. Unless Republic gets an on curve 3-drop unit buffer, right? It's just not going to be as good.
We have it already. It's in greens too.
Yeah, and it only costs 2, and I don't think that card is nearly as good as Fleet Lieutenant is.
Oh, I think it's better than Fleet Lieutenant, personally.
I think it's arguably worse, because you don't want to, so you have to play that. If you're playing it on curve, you're playing a 1/4, yippee, and then you having to play a 1-drop to go with it to make up for the fact that you're only playing 1 attack power. onto the board in an aggro deck. It's the Fleet Lieutenant allows you to play a 3 attack unit and also swing face for much damage. That's so like depending on it's not the 2-drop.
Okay, so where
Future is not an aggro card, I don't think. For my first impression.
Yeah, so I was about to say is like I think that's where our differences is that I'm thinking as like a mid-range / control card, being able to buff my small unit to trade with a big unit that I normally wouldn't be able to trade with. Where you're thinking of it as doing damage. So for you, sure, having the 3/3 is better because you want to do more damage. For me, correct. I want to have the cheaper, more efficient spell that leaves me with a guy on board for coordinate and all that kind of good stuff, where I can trade in a smaller body for a bigger body, like a clone trooper into like a Ahsoka Tano or something like the 3/4 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where my mind went with it. So I guess
for sure. And in draft, it's also going to be busted for those exact reasons you're describing right now, because it's going to let you turn those little droid or clone trooper tokens into favorable trades. But so, like I said, it could be okay, but I think the Jedi tag is going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting, unless the space deck just emerges in like set 4 that just wants all the 2-drop space units or something.
My last thought on this guy, real quick.
Go ahead.
This would probably be one of my favorite hyperspace cards to own. Is that one? Because that art in the background looks baller.
Yeah, and I do want to say one of the best subtitles, Where the Fun Begins.
Yeah,
just an absolute slam dunk subtitle. When that particular subtitle was spoiled, it was no question as to what card that was going to be attached to. 10 out of 10. Love that. So the next card that should spark joy but does not is the Soldier of the 501st. This is a 1-drop heroic aggression unit, which is I love 1-drop heroic aggression units. Except for this guy is a 1/3 Republic clone trooper with raid 1. So comparing this to the Death Star Stormtrooper, a 3/1, obviously it's more fragile. It dies to a ping. This guy is more durable. It doesn't just die to a random ping. But this guy also doesn't trade into a 3 health 2-drop like the Stormtrooper does. Like they're just gonna a 3/2 trades into this. It just knocks it out of the park. Like I don't. A 1/3 raid 1. I don't know what deck is going to be playing this card because it doesn't feel that great for aggro. And unless you just really need to trigger coordinate and have all the 1-drops, like I don't even think if it's good there either.
Draft.
Yeah, it's a draft card, but even then, like it doesn't even feel that good for draft.
Good, great art for a draft card, honestly.
But like, so I mean, you're attacking for 2.
I got Kyle. That's why.
But only defending for 1. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I got it. You ready?
Yeah.
You play it, and then you play there are 2 of them, and then you get a Republic card that costs 5, like Cam.
Sure.
There you go. I guess that's 3 aspects, so maybe not.
Probably not.
Plo Koon. No, you got Plo Koon. Again, it all comes back to Plo Koon.
It all comes back to Plo Koon. Who won't ever be able to trigger his ambush because you can never coordinate with now there are 2 of them.
That's true. That's true.
Oh man.
So yeah, this card is, I think, a stinker. Like this should be the mirror to the Stormtrooper, and the Stormtrooper is a clear and away winner, in my opinion.
Well, I want to talk about another double cunning card quickly.
Oh boy,
unless Jrod, I don't want to talk about this double cunning card.
I nope. It's not what I want to talk about. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Well,
which
I got
a. Could it be? I wonder which one it is.
There's a 2 cost.
Yeah.
There's a 2 cost unit.
Okay.
That's a 2/3, and it has an on attack ability. That's deal 2 damage to a random unit or base. It is the only Mr. Jar Jar Binks.
Darth Jar Jar.
Now we should note this is the first time we are also seeing the Gungan trait, confirming that it is in fact a trait. So Gungan set win, boys? Question mark.
How do they not choose this as a playmat art?
Wait, I now know what Secrets of Power is, it's going to be the Gunkin set. That's what it's going to be. Just figured it out.
All the Gungans. So, like, if this basically, to me, I was on super copium hoping that Jar Jar was going to be a leader of the set. I think it's pretty obvious now that he's not going to be, and we have to settle for this card. But I do think this card is as obnoxious as I hoped the leader would be. So this is a fair replacement, because having to figure out where to put that 2 damage on the random unit or base is going to be somewhat cumbersome.
You know where it's going to be great?
Twin Suns?
Yep.
Because there's going to be so many units.
It's just all the chaos ever.
Obviously, the best way to do this is just assign a number to everything and then roll a die with at least that many numbers and then figure it out from there. But I think it's funny. The important thing to note here, he can hit himself, and he definitely has 3 HP very purposefully, right? So he can't just one-shot himself on the first attack. But it's going to be funny when Jar Jar Binks hits himself 2 times in a row for your first 2 attacks. And that's kind of what you deserve for playing the card, honestly.
Well, Jar Jar is definitely a super fun card. He's a 2/3. I don't know if we said that.
He did.
But, okay. So, super cool. I think it'll be awesome. Not very playable. I think it'll be a super fun card in Twin Suns. You should definitely put him in all your yellow decks if you're going to play that.
My Fennec Shan deck is going to try this Jar Jar out. The double yellow Fennec Shan Jar mentioned earlier.
He is uncommon, we should note. So he's not taking up a rare or forbid a legendary slot.
He should have been legendary. Darth Jar Jar is legendary.
So he's just uncommon, so very easy to get. Will appear in drafts, but typically double colored drafts don't normally work out. You're not normally drafting double yellow or double red, etc. So you probably won't ever get to see him in draft, and I feel like that's where he would be the most fun, have the biggest impact, because you attack with him and hope he snipes your opponent's random 2 health space unit or something.
Is there any other card that was spoiled that you 2 want to talk about?
Yes, because you both got 2 and I only get 1, so I was just being polite.
Yep.
All right, so this card, I don't think either of you would have put up here, but I'm going to do it. It's a 2-cost, gray, so no aspects, event, private manufacturing, supply. It says draw 2 cards, period. Already starting out great. If you control no token units, put 2 cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's a facto. If you control a token unit, it just says draw 2 cards. And we're in a very heavy token set. So I think this card's going to see a lot of play outside of aggro decks. Any like mid-range or control deck, I feel like this card, if you're playing any type of token strategy, even a little bit, you're going to probably have at least a couple of these in your deck. I'm not saying everyone's going to smash 3, but go ahead, dude. Sorry.
No, even if you are an aggressive go-wide strat with tokens that's trying to empty your hand,
true,
you might want a couple copies of this too, right? Because we haven't really seen super cheap draw like this before.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's in gray.
Like there's definitely decks in other games that, if the cost is right, they'll put some card draw in their aggro decks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
well, there's even we have a base, which literally when you deploy your leader, you just get those tokens for free. If you've got an earlier deploy leader
for aggro decks,
you don't even need to play
work for
a card. Yeah, work for it at all. And because the odds of them taking out both of those, if they take out one of them, that's potential. But taking out both would require some serious work.
And even still, if they're focusing on your tokens and not your bigger units, then you're as an aggro deck, you're winning anyways. So I think it's definitely a card that might be underlooked, but I think is pretty powerful and might end up being a pretty busted card in this set. To be honest, that's what I'm keeping my eye on.
It is one of the cards of all time.
I don't know about that, but could be.
One of the cards of all time.
Could be. Heard it here first.
Well, since we are now a Twin Suns podcast, it's probably worth talking about the cool new Twin Suns playmat that we saw.
We did see that.
Jrod or Dudeness, why don't you guys describe this playmat for those at home?
It's very similar to their Death Star 2-player mat, where it has all of the sections labeled out on the map, resources, deck, space units, etc. This one features, gonna guess that's Tatooine, question mark? I mean, there are twin suns on Tatooine itself, so that would make sense that it's Tatooine. It definitely is a desert planet. I'm just going to assume it's Tatooine. And then on the outside, it's got a Falcon being chased by some Star Destroyers. Pretty cool art overall. But I love the big giant planet right in the middle where all of your ground units are going to go, and then you put your space units on the outside of it. I really love the 2-player Death Star mat they had before with all the zones. It felt really clean to play on, and this just feels like more of the same. I think they kind of crushed it with this, honestly.
I do love the 4 ground zones all together on the planet, on the ground.
Yes.
The space on the space. And if you look close enough, actually, in the very middle, you can see the 3 spots for the 3 initiative tokens.
Mm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For the blast counter, the
blast and the plan.
Yeah, and the initiative counter. So definitely leaning into that 4-player mode.
It's pretty slick. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty slick. This has. I just now noticed it because I pulled up the image and was looking at it a bit closer. There's a new little Twin Suns format, a little tag badge logo.
Oh yeah, the bottom right.
It's in the corners on the mat. So that's a new branding thing that may or may not show up on. Maybe they do pre-constructed Twin Suns decks, because we all know from Magic the Gathering, pre-constructed commander decks are a great way to get into a casual format. Casual is like, hey, how do I play this format? Well, just go get a precon.
I think you mean EDH.
Of course. And then, so this would lead me to believe that there will be other products in this Twin Suns format lineup thing.
The mat coincidentally has 2 suns on it. I think that was intentional.
Well, Tatooine itself has twin suns. That's the lore of Tatooine is it has 2 suns. Yeah.
Honestly, while that mat is cool, there's one other mat that I'm going to skip the other thing you're about to talk about and go right into this other mat because I like it.
Go ahead.
And I'm so sad it's not the PAX Unplugged mat. That's where I'm going to be heading. It's the Spiel mat.
Spiel.
Spiel. Holy moly! It's basically Obi-Wan yelling to Anakin, "The Eye of the High Ground, don't try it." In that scene, but it's from Anakin's perspective, and it's sick. It's the art for Eye of the High Ground, the card. So if you've seen that, it looks great. And oh man, if you're at Spiel and you don't want this mat and you want to help a friend, I would love to take this off your hand.
Unfortunately, this episode will go live. Spiel is happening as we speak.
So if you got this mat and want to trade Jrod with whatever he got at PAX, he will trade you.
Yep. I'll send you a signed out maneuvered mat. Let me know.
I will say the mat is probably the best of the event exclusive mats they've done so far. Honestly, it's pretty.
It's my favorite movie.
Pardon the pun.
Scene.
It's pretty fire. Just straight up.
You could say it's pretty high on your grounds.
Yes.
You could say it's worth losing an arm over.
And a leg.
Even a leg.
2 legs.
Okay, so those are cool, but there's actually something infinitely more important that was also announced during Spiel. That as of this recording, we don't know any further information beyond that the product does exist, and that is in set 4 and presumably beyond, we are going to have another booster type, another booster display that you can purchase, and that is the Carbonite Edition. Those familiar with Magic the Gathering, these are the clear comparison to the collector's packs theirs, which had different art treatments of cards that you could only get inside those collector's packs. As of right now, we have no other information on these Carbonite packs other than that they do in fact exist.
And they'll be 12 per box.
They will be 12 per box,
And they have
which is
little prize
also the
bomber on
same.
them.
I think it's also 12 in the Magic Collector's boosters as
It's
well.
I
But
think it's 12 or 16.
It varies. Sometimes it was like 4 for, I think it was Collector Masters or something. There was
it kind
4
of depends on the set, I guess. But yeah, those also had fewer packs, but the cards inside of them are more juiced. They're more desirable in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
There's different treatments. There's like showcase cards, full arts and stuff that you can only get in these collectors.
Serialized cards.
Serialized cards, exactly. There is the 1 out of 1 ring that sold for $2 million to Post Malone. So it's definitely a way to drive in collectors. But I don't like that they just said, hey, this is going to be a thing, and then gave us no other information about it whatsoever, and are forcing us right now for us to wildly speculate as to what potentially could even be inside of these things.
They will likely have millions of dollars in these packs, so make sure everyone goes buy these, because they're going to be just pure profit machines for you.
Okay, so we're going to take a brief moment, and we're going to both, 1, take a guess of what might be inside,
okay,
and 2, share what we hope will be inside.
Okay.
So we didn't plan this out.
Why don't you lead us off?
Yes. So I think that if I'm like guessing, I think we're going to get serialized showcases. I hope that they don't take showcases out of regular boosters. So I hope that in these there's an increased chance to get a showcase, not like 1 in every pack or 1 in every box, but like if it's 1 in every 2 cases for the regular boxes to get a showcase. I would say, like, depending on how many of these are in a case, maybe 1 per case of these, and then within that as well, a chance to get a serialized one. And I don't want it to be like out of 50 serialized. I think that's way too many. I think like out of 10 would be interesting if they had serialized leaders out of 10. That's my think.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in next. So I actually think what they're going to do is, if they take Faith's idea of putting showcases in these, which I do think is a very good possibility, I think the alternate of getting a showcase is going to be a hyperfoil leader from the set. So it will be an opportunity to get a lower version of a showcase, but it'll be hyperfoil versions of leaders from those, like 1 per pack kind of thing. I think that we'll also get serialized legendaries in there, so you probably can get hyperfoil Vader serialized. I think a lot of the reasons to buy will be for serialized cards. I think that's pretty much it. I don't think there's much crazier stuff. They'll probably have some alternate arts, that kind of stuff, which will be cool and people will want. If they use that ugly border, I'm not going to want any of these cards. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, we'll see. I hope they saved some really cool display of the cards for these kind of packs, because then maybe I'll buy some. Who knows? Maybe not. We'll find out. Maybe once in a while, just like a little treat.
That's a little treat, you know.
Today was a good day. A little treat.
Go buy a little Carbonite booster pack.
They're actually also really good for prizes, I would say.
Yeah.
I
will say, I'm like, where I work, I can literally walk like 10 steps and get to my game store that I can go at often. So like, it could be very dangerous to today was a good day and go buy a pack.
Okay, so I think there will be a special treatment in the pack. I don't think they're going to take away showcases from the regular packs. That just seems like a bad move on their part. That's just going to generate a lot of negative feelings for no real reason. Like, hey, here's this first year. These are the packs for O'Hare in the second year. They're not like this at all anymore. Deal with it. Like, that doesn't compute to me. Now, does that mean showcases won't appear in the Carbonite? No, I don't think so. I think they could appear in it. I think they could be serialized, something I hadn't considered. Certainly possible. But I think at the bare minimum, we're going to get a Carbonite treatment, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And there will be cards of that treatment in these that you can only get inside of these collector packs, 100%.
Like, similar to like the dark side, like how they were all blacked out, like maybe a little different, but kind of something like that.
Very similar, I think. And like if they ever call that something official? Like, did they ever give that like officially a name? Like, is that just a preview of what a Carbonite card looks like, and they just never actually said it? And I don't know. I didn't pay close enough attention to all the talkings or interviews or something, but yeah, you're exactly on the right track where I was thinking. Something similar to those event exclusive treatments, but available in these packs. Will it be every card? Like, can you get a common in Carbonite Treatment? Maybe,
I would imagine.
I don't know actually. I mean, if it's not that, then the packs are just going to be full of hyperspace cards and foils, and you get a guaranteed hyperfoil in each pack, and it could be, most of the time it's going to be common, but obviously there's a chance it's up to legendary. Like that's where I'm leaning towards, a guaranteed hyperfoil in each pack instead of a guaranteed foil.
The only thing I would say potentially to close out on is maybe they make like 5 Vader Luke showcases and put them in there throughout like multiple sets.
I mean, yeah, it just seems like
for these kind of packs, because then maybe I'll buy some. Who knows? Maybe not. We'll find out. Maybe once in a while, just like a little treat.
That's a little treat,
Today was a good day. A little treat.
Go buy a little Carbonite booster pack.
They're actually also really good for prizes, I would say.
Yeah.
I
will say I'm like, where I work, I can literally walk like 10 steps and get to my game store that I can go at often. So like, it could be very dangerous to like, oh, today was a good day and go buy a pack.
Okay, so I think there will be a special treatment in the pack. I don't think they're going to take away showcases from the regular packs. That just seems like a bad move on their part. That's just going to generate a lot of negative feelings for no real reason. Like, hey, here's this first year. These are the packs for O'Hare in the second year. They're not like this at all anymore. Deal with it. Like, that doesn't compute to me. Now, does that mean showcases won't appear in the Carbonite? No, I don't think so. I think they could appear in it. I think they could be serialized, something I hadn't considered. Certainly possible. But I think at the bare minimum, we're going to get a Carbonite treatment, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And there will be cards of that treatment in these that you can only get inside of these collector packs, 100%.
Like, similar to like the dark side, like how they were all blacked out, like maybe a little different, but kind of something like that.
Very similar, I think. And like if they ever call that something official, like did they ever give that like officially a name? Like, is that just a preview of what a Carbonite card looks like, and they just never actually said it? And I don't know. I didn't pay close enough attention to all the talkings or interviews or something, but yeah, you're exactly on the right track where I was thinking. Something similar to those event exclusive treatments, but available in these packs. Will it be every card? Like, can you get a common in Carbonite Treatment? Maybe,
I would imagine.
I don't know actually. I mean, if it's not that, then the packs are just going to be full of hyperspace cards and foils, and you get a guaranteed hyperfoil in each pack, and it could be, most of the time it's going to be common, but obviously there's a chance it's up to legendary. Like that's where I'm leaning towards, a guaranteed hyperfoil in each pack instead of a guaranteed foil.
The only thing I would say potentially to close out on is maybe they make like 5 Vader Luke showcases and put them in there throughout like multiple sets.
I mean, yeah, it just seems like a bunch. It just seems like too exotic. I don't know the right way to even phrase it for this early on. And like, I didn't expect them to give us collector boosters in year 2, but here we are, right? But I don't think they're going to do something like super, super crazy like that. But obviously I could be wrong.
Well, my only gripe with these is that it will stop collectors from buying the bigger boxes, which could increase the prices of the regular stuff. So that's my only one concern with these, is that collectors might move on from regular boxes to these.
I mean, but usually though, like in Magic, comparably, all the regular treatment cards are not very expensive, and it's the cards that are out of the collector boosters, the showcases and the full art foils, the textured foils, etc.
I'm all for that. So if that's what happens in this, I'm 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, so I honestly think if there is one positive, that it will help drive down prices of the normal cards if it's done correctly. But Obviously, again, we'll just wait and see. And there's possible tomorrow after we record this, FFG releases the article that I thought they should have released today to go alongside the announcement of a new booster pack and just explains what's all inside of it. We don't have to sit here and wildly speculate about what may or may not be inside of it. So,
but it's so much more fun.
It is. I will say it is a lot more fun wildly speculating than just talking the facts.
I just want to point out that Dudeness used to hate us speculating on like a bunch of stuff. And when we first started this, and now he loves it, so it's great. I love to see the 180.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to us. We'll see you next time on Outmaneuver.
Yep, cheers, y'all. I got him first.